Hey guys, girls, everybody. So I decided to finally make a video, a short video, real quick, about my experience so far as coming to Asia is concerned. So as you guys know already, first stop was to Japan, then Hong Kong, then China. Personally, I would prefer to just answer questions according to the questions that people already have, instead of just sort of trying to tell the whole story. Anyway, as of now, just to give a quick summary, I spent my first couple of weeks in Japan. It was pretty interesting to say the least. I found out a lot of interesting things that I didn't know about Japanese people before and Japanese culture, which I wasn't really happy about, but whatever, it happens. Um, so Japan was definitely a nice place to visit, and it really gives me another kind of perspective on how to see things, on how the kind of lifestyles people have, and definitely China as well. Um, I definitely can say that Japan is a very clean, very organized society and very clean, organized country. For the most part, I just know about Tokyo, and from what most locals tell me, Tokyo is very different from the rest of Japan. So hopefully, I can spend some time later on in Kyoto, Osaka, and get a feel of what other Japanese cities and neighborhoods are like. But for the most part, it was still a very positive experience. Um, but to be totally honest, I really think I like China a lot more than I do Japan. I don't know if it's where I am, but I definitely like it more. Um, Before coming to China, I spent like I don't know, a night and a day in Hong Kong because I went to a Hong Kong airport to come to China. Um, from my experience, this doesn't mean that all people in Hong Kong are like this, but from my experience and the short time I spent there, everyone, absolutely everyone in Hong Kong, one, spoke English, and two, were incredibly rude. Yeah. Hopefully, other people have better experiences to share about Hong Kong, but I certainly don't yet. So far, I've been in China for the last 8 or 9 days, so a little over a week. I've already started teaching. As you guys might already know, I'm primarily in China teaching English. That's when, that was the idea. And that is the idea. And it's going well. I've had a long day at work, so I'm pretty tired. But it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a pretty good day for the most part. The kids are kids, range from really crazy to crazier. But they're really, really fun kids, really good kids, and incredibly smart. I mean, incredibly smart. I remember tutoring and teaching kids in the US, in New York, and in comparison, they honestly pale in a serious way in comparison to the kids in China. And it's obvious why, China, there's a lot more people, it's a lot more competitive, so the kids have to try a lot harder. But I mean, we have 4 year olds, 5 year olds that they can read entire books on their own easily. And I don't mean like one or two, I mean like the whole class. You say, here, read this, and they can read it, and they're 4 or 5 year olds, and they're reading English. Not to mention that they're learning Chinese at the same time, and Chinese is the language that is spoken at home. So for kids to be English first language in the U.S. and 6, 7, 8 year olds can't even read properly, the kind of material that we're teaching here, it's sort of embarrassing to be totally honest. But of course, I didn't make this video to bash on America or anything. I'm just kind of stating what's out there and what I've experienced so far. So regardless of how crazy the kids may be, because kids are kids no matter what country you're in, the kids here are incredibly brilliant. Like the most silly of the kids that you will have here are usually the smartest ones, and that the reason they behave that way is because they're like, hey, I already know this and I got this down, so I don't have to worry. And so they play around, which is fine because they know what they're doing anyway. I'm really hoping I can spend some time traveling and maybe check out Thailand and the Philippines and whatnot, run around Southeast Asia a little bit. But as of now, I'm going to be in China for a while. I'm currently staying in Dongguan. Dongguan is like a pretty new city. It's been running something like 20 years or so, I'm told. So it's fairly new. It's really nicely well populated. So what I mean by, people in Japan and people in China, why my experiences vary so much is, in my time in Tokyo, people were mostly cold or, really antsy and whatnot, kind of like people in New York City, which, kind of makes sense. It's Tokyo City, right? As opposed to the people in Zhongguan City in China, it's like you try to talk to people here, even if they don't understand you, they're just smiling and they try to talk to you and they try to work with you one way or the other, try to understand each other, which is awesome. Like, that would never happen in Japan. In my time in Japan, when I try to communicate something to someone, they would just say, like, shake their heads and they don't understand and just walk away. People here, they stand there, they look at you and they talk to you and they're like, okay, what's going on? And then other people gather around and everybody tries to sort of figure out what's going on and they try to talk to you and everyone's just really friendly. So regardless of what anyone tells you about China and, oh my god, China's so scary, it's a communist country or whatever the hell, man, China has been amazing so far. I would have to definitely give you guys some downsides. So far, the only issue I've had though is like the pollution, of course, and that's, it's a given. The pollution is it's I don't know if it's as serious as most people say, but it's pretty bad. Like, there's a lot of the time you can't even see the sky. It's really cloudy and foggy. But at the same time, I am here on the rainy season, so a lot of those are rain clouds. But either way, after the first week in China or so, I started getting this, which is first, 6, 7 days. So a couple of days ago, I started getting this really bad cough and I had to cough out things that I didn't know I could. But I'm getting over that, and so I'm feeling a lot better now, thankfully. Yeah, once that's taken care of, the rest of my time in China has been amazing, and hopefully it stays that way. So that's just a really brief overview on my experience so far in China. Just letting you guys know everything's been going well, and I'm doing pretty good. Everything's nice. And compared to the U.S., I'm making a pretty hell of a good living here, and everything's just dirt cheap. It's just crazy how I can just take a cab to work and pay the equivalent of less than $2 US. If I were to try to do that in New York City, take a cab to work, it'd be like 25 US. You know what I mean? We're teachers here are practically living off of like what would be the same as living off of like a $4,000 to $6,000 a month type of thing, in contrast to New York City. But that's gonna be it for now. I really need to get some sleep. I'm kind of tired. If you guys have any particular questions, let me know and I'll answer them as best as I possibly can. Take care, everybody.